What's up, everybody? My name is Josh or Zero, and tonight I'm going to be giving you a Gobblegum slash Liquid Divinium bit on Black Ops 3 on zombies, and I'm also going to be giving you a little bit of who I am and what you should expect from me. So first things first, before anything can actually be done, how do you do this? How do you do this? Oh yes. The best part of the night, spending 5,000 COD points. Yes, I know. All on Divinium. Whew. Sad to see it go. You know, I worked hard for it. No, I'm just kidding. Gotta love them gift cards. So, to start off with the story part of who I am, growing up, I didn't have very many ambitions toward who I wanted to be. I always looked toward my father because he was kind of the cool dad, you know, because I could trust him with everything. My mom, of course, has been in my life. I love near and dear. Without her, I wouldn't be able to talk to you today. She made me into the person I am today. Not saying my father isn't in my life, but at the same time, he could be there more. To kick it off, we have not so good. Okay. Growing up, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be an astronaut or something like that every kid has no idea. I mean, most of the time he's worried about whether or not he's going to be able to get into another snowball fight in the winter, or if he's going to be moving schools, such as I did, going on 4 times now. I wasn't really sure who would end up being in my life. Not that there was anything dark or depressing about that, it's just I was getting to the age where I know that people aren't always going to be in your life, because that's just kind of how things went. Say when I was 7 or 8 years old, I lost my great-grandfather, which was my mother's grandpa, due to him having a stroke and being put into a coma because of said stroke. And I remember just not coming home. Sorry. I remember my mom and my aunt coming home from the hospital because they were the last people to see my great grandpa, and I just remember just being so confused, and they just looked so destroyed. And my Aunt Marissa, she's much older now, but she was 2-3 years. Well, she is 2 or 3 years older than me. Anyway, she asked me, why aren't you crying? And I said, I don't know. I really don't. And it's not that I didn't like my great grandpa. I have, even though I was very little when I actually knew him, I had very good memories of him. It's just, it's not that, I don't know, it's just something I haven't been able to kind of explain to myself is why I didn't cry. It's just, I couldn't come up with tears. I was too young to comprehend death. Moving on, I'd say a few years. This is 7th grade year. I lost my father, not permanently, but he was taken out of my life for a little bit due to his own complications and his choices. And it was just kind of me, my mom, and my brother for a while, which wasn't anything new, but, you know, it just, not seeing my dad kind of changed me a little bit, because my dad was sort of like, not that there's anything wrong with my mom, my dad was that person I could talk to or just play frisbee golf with. He was, you know, more or less a cool guy. Like, he was like that older, because my father and my mother, they had me. My mom gave birth to me when she was 21. So my dad was still decently young when he got together with my mom. So it was kind of strange, but I kind of liked having someone a little bit closer to my age because me and him we used to stay up all night playing an Xbox or whatever new game came out. We'd go pre-order it and then play it as soon as it came out. It's just he was like an older version of me, and I could see it. It was quite honestly awesome. Um, Not sure when I finally realized it, but oh yes, okay. Sorry. In the seventh grade, I lost my grandpa Meehan, and this time was a little bit different. Like instead of my great grandpa, because obviously I actually grew up with my grandpa Meehan, and I cried for a good hour or two, and it was just it sucked because when you get memories of somebody, whether it be a bad relationship or a good relationship and you break up, or it's just things end. You don't really plan that kind of thing. You don't really know when you're gonna say your final goodbyes. Nobody really does unless you know that they're not going to be in your life anymore, whether that's planned or if they pass away. Anyway, I just remember my grandma Carla calling me, and she was just in tears because she knew that me and my brother didn't understand, but I was really close to my grandpa Meehan. And the one thing, not that it's nice that he passed away, but he passed away in his sleep because he was a diabetic and he had heart issues. I think that's what it was. So he passed away in his sleep, so he didn't remember much of it. And I don't mean to be talking all about death this entire time, but this is just kind of what I've grown up into. It's just how I perceive things around me and how quickly everything can easily be taken out. Moving forward a few years, in 8th grade, I ended up moving from my hometown of Mishawaka, and moving out of the Penn Harris Madison school district, which was big for me because I have been going to Penn Harris since the 1st grade, and all my friends were being left behind. I was leaving all my friends behind, and to be honest, it destroyed me. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know how I would make up, or I didn't know how I'd start making friends again. And eventually it didn't become so bad. I met a person that I'm still friends with to this day, actually. His name is Anthony, and since that was in 2015, it's 2019 now. Me and him have been friends for 4 years, and to be completely honest, he is one of the greatest friends I've ever met and will ever have in my life, because even though he acts crazy a little bit, he is one of the most down-to-earth people you'll ever meet, and I mean that wholeheartedly. He's just the coolest dude to talk to, get down to talk about anything. I guarantee he'll have something to say, whether it's bad or good. And it's just something about him that makes him a good person, but you gotta know him from the inside before you meet him from the out. Because if you hear about stuff he's been involved with, not saying anything specific, but not that it could get him in trouble or anything like that, but he sounds like he's one of those wannabe thug type of people, and that's understandable, but at the same time, you just can't really judge somebody by what you've heard. You should try to actually get to know a person. Don't judge a book by its cover. I met him, and then he introduced me to another good friend of mine that I've lost contact with because he moved out of Plymouth High School. But then months started turning into years that I knew Anthony, and I eventually started meeting the friends that I have today, such as Christian, such as Jared, such as a lot of other people. And that's kind of how everything started with me here at Plymouth. And one smart thing that I'm not going to do is talk about relationships, because relationships can kind of come off as a bad idea of a thing to talk about. But anyway, I met my now non-blood, because people that you consider like a sister or something like that. I met my sister Carrie in the 8th grade as well. Anthony introduced me to Weston, and then he introduced me to Carrie. Carrie is one of my greatest friends because she's been there through me 100% of the way, and I couldn't ask for a better friend. Of course, it's still my friends. That I have a small handful of friends from Mishawaka: Nathan, Noah, and Alina. Those are people that you can't get rid of. Whether you want to or not, you can. And I don't know where I'd be without them. I don't know where I'd be without half the people that I still am grateful to call my friends to this day. And unfortunately, I have lost a few of my really close friends due to just school drama. But to be honest, from what I've been told, it's kind of normal to lose the one that you really thought you would keep throughout high school. So that's how I kind of went with Atbikes. That's how I kind of got the idea that anybody can get taken out of your life, whether it be someone not wanting to hang out with you anymore, someone who just isn't on the same wavelength as you, someone who just doesn't catch what you're saying anymore. That took a while. Anyway, let's talk about something on a lighter note. Recently, well, to start, going into my junior year, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Oh, I think it's gonna glitch out. Yeah. Thought so. That's strange. This will work? No, nothing does work. Here. It works as soon as I quit. Anyway, okay, going into my junior year, I had no idea what classes I was going to take. Or just what I was going to do. My good friend, ironically enough, another good friend of mine that Anthony introduced me to, who's a brother to me now, Alex, he he told me that he was a part of JAG, and I had no idea what it was. It sounded like I don't know, like agriculture class, which is not really something I was into, but like an extra step, if you catch what I mean. Personally, I was completely discouraged from it because I had no idea what it was. The former teacher at the time told me all about it. We had a sit down, and I was instantly on board with it. This was my freshman year, and so the next year after, so my sophomore year, I kept asking if I could join, but apparently I didn't know at the time that you have to be a junior, and I wasn't sure why. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's a lot of papers that you can't actually sign until you've got a lot more documentation. But it's probably just because of the fact that you can only do it for 2 years because of funding or something like that. But I was instantly on board with it when I first found out about it. And when I signed up, I was iffy about it because I wasn't sure if I was signing myself up for failure or if I was just getting cold feet about something I had no idea what I was getting into. So okay, that was weird. On my first day at JAG, it was kind of strange, but like most class, they did what are they called? Icebreakers, to kind of get everyone familiar with everybody else, and it kind of worked, I guess. It was a bigger class, and I didn't know anybody in there, and to be completely honest, it's not like I really wanted to meet anybody in there because everyone in the class, because it was composed of about 3 other juniors that I had already known, and a lot of seniors, and I didn't really get along with seniors just because a lot of the seniors acted like they knew everything, and I don't like stuck-up seniors. It's always annoying to deal with stuck-up seniors. But anyway, so initially I thought it's just going to be another class where I'm going to have to deal with some sort of drama. So the first week I kind of just went with it, but it seemed a lot more interesting. We started having guest speakers after a while, and I was really, really interested. And soon enough we had a college, people coming from colleges, like from Ivy Tech and UNHO, or UNOH, University of Northwestern Ohio, and I was instantly just, like, it felt like something, like, snapped on, where, like, I instantly wanted to make sure I knew everything about my choices in the future, about what I could and could not do, or just, when it came to, like, for example, filing my FAFSA, when I'm going to do that next year, since I'm still a junior. And it just became, it became, like, a huge awakening for me. So, when was it? When we first talked about the CDC, which was a gap because Plymouth High School isn't the only school to have a CDC, which was like not really a gathering, but it was a competition amongst all the other schools in the region, and we were Region 2, to see who could do the best in whatever project they chose. And I chose financial literacy, but that comes later. Initially, I did not want to do anything to do with the CDC because instantly I thought competition, public speaking. No, I do not do public speaking at all. And yes, you're probably thinking, oh, he's probably got a fear of public speaking, or fear of speaking in public. Yes, yes, and yes. I hate, and I know hate is a strong word, I hate talking in public because it's this fear of just total embarrassment out of nowhere. Like, anything could happen. Like, I've seen Uh, I've had my own idea that someone's gonna come up behind me and pull down my pants when I'm in the middle of a speech or something, and I don't know why, but I create this irrational fear that something's gonna happen. But anyway, wow, all three Phoenix up. It ended up being the fact that I was kind of coming up with it on my own, but it turns out I didn't have to do any speaking at all, which was a huge, huge plus for me because I don't like public speaking, as I mentioned before. I ended up just doing a really big math test. So I didn't end up winning the CDC, but what I did take from there was that it doesn't matter who you are, wherever you come from, it doesn't matter. Your circumstances don't determine your outcome. And no, I'm not coming up with that myself. We had a public speaker come in and talk to us, and he gave us a lot to take away from. And I really respected the fact that he took time out of his life when he didn't have to come and talk to a bunch of kids who probably had no idea what he was talking about the first 10 seconds. But all in all, it kind of made me a lot more mature. Not saying that you can instantly be more mature in about 3 seconds, but at the same time, I felt like, I don't know. I felt like maybe something needed to be different, or something, or someone might come along in my life that could point me in the right direction, or just show me what I've been missing that I need to start doing. We recently had a public speaker, or not a public speaker, we had a speaker come into class. He was a recruiter for the Army. And I instantly thought, oh no, another Army recruiter talking about trying to get a shot again. Because it's not that I don't like the Army, I'm glad there's people that do the stuff they do. But initially I thought, you want me to basically commit suicide by enlisting. And the more he talked about it, the more easy it kind of to talk about the subject it became. Because you don't initially think of the Army or the Marines or anything as something you would want to do unless it's family related or something like that, like a tradition. But it's not as bad as it seems, because you think you're initially just going to get shot, but all in all, you could be completely off of the battlefield and just working behind on the trucks or the Humvees. And to be completely honest, that doesn't sound too bad, because my end goal with life is to have my own garage where I fix fix cars, remodel cars, or not remodel, take the body of a car and just completely do it from scratch. Just, I don't know why, there's something about cars that kind of takes the stress out of every day. It's kind of the reason why I play video games now. It's because I don't have to think about anything else. Last one is bad. But talking about the Army kind of opened up my variety of what decisions I had actually at my fingertips. So whether or not I decided to go down that road is completely down the road from now. But who knows? Maybe someday I could enlist into the United States Army, and I don't even know it yet. Might see me in my fatigues. You never know. I'm halfway kidding, halfway not. At the same time, you never know. I mean, you never do really know what opportunities you're going to be able to take, what things sometimes just land in your lap. You never know what can come your way. Um, but on that note, I'm going to say sayonara, vidazai, and good night.